Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 43.
Hello.
It's Monday.
43.
43, and guess what? It's another Monday. Amazing. Who would have thought?
Monday. Can we have Tefty do a remix of Monday for SideQuest?
I'm down. Let's hear that.
I'll put it in my little folder of things.
Ideas that I will not act upon.
Does anyone remember I can't remember what happened in the previous episode, but does anyone remember the Monday from like the trial was the mini clip game?
No.
The one that was like Monday, and that's about it. But it just used to start before the motorbike game, and it was like I remembered it. Yeah, maybe it's just
I can totally remix that. I can go Monday. Get everyone very excited.
Monday here at the Metro.
The only reason we're doing this is because no one has any idea what day it is. So just to confirm, it is indeed Monday. If you're listening,
unless of course you're listening to it on Spotify, in which case it's probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Let me ask you.
Tuesday.
You guys all work from home, right? And sometimes one can, when working from home, kind of forget what day it is.
Yes.
What's the furthest you've been off? Like when you realized what day it actually is, what's the furthest you've been off? Was it 1 day, 2 days?
I think usually just like 1 day. Like I think it was a couple of weeks ago where like I kept on getting to what was it? I got to like a Wednesday, and I thought it was like I think it was on a Thursday. I thought it was a Friday, and then I was like, oh yeah, the weekend's tomorrow. I was like, wait, no, it's not. Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I had a bit of a panic yesterday, actually, because I was like, wait, no, it's Sunday. No, I thought it was still Saturday. I have no idea. It's normally a day though, where I'm just like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, nope.
So I'm typically pretty aware of the calendar day.
Yeah.
Like where we are in the month and all that stuff, just because I like to plan things. But I have been off like a day before, but it doesn't happen too often. And I've been basically working at home for a long time.
I'm like you. I usually don't forget. Like it usually doesn't affect me too much. I do the photography stuff, so I usually have to be pretty aware of the date and all that stuff. And plus, my wife goes to work, so it's like, I'm kind of aware of that schedule. Yeah. But she's been home for the last 2 weeks, and I have not been doing photography. Obviously, social distancing is, you don't want to be out there
trying to flatten the curve.
So, like, I have just like completely lost track of what day it is because there's nobody in the house that's like leaving to go to work. There's like no difference between a Thursday and a Friday other than like on Thursday, I'm supposed to be here at a certain time to record a podcast. Same with Monday, so it's like, that's the only thing in my life right now that has like a set schedule. It's weird. It's a really weird time.
The podcast that keeps us
There was a tweet I saw today and someone was like, is it bad that the only reason I know what day it is because I keep checking in on Animal Crossing every single day and it's telling me what day it is? I was like, that's a good one. Dear.
That's funny.
I think it was last week that I lost track because last week, obviously for me, like, I normally have a structured day where like, I get up, I do stuff, I edit for a bit and I edit throughout the day and then like I play, games myself in the evening. But obviously because Final Fantasy, we got code last week, Friday I cleared my schedule. So I was playing it all day Friday. So it felt like, and normally I wouldn't do that unless it's like a weekend. So because I basically like on a work day, I was just playing a game all day. Suddenly I was like, wait, what day is this? Where am I?
Do you schedule your time so you have weekends, like traditional weekends, Eric?
I try to where I can. During like busy periods, I don't often get that. So this past weekend, because there was like loads of like embargoes and stuff, I worked Saturday and Sunday. In fact, I've been doing that for the past like 2-3 weeks because there's been things juggling. But I do try where possible because it's just easy when like you kind of do this sort of stuff just to like blur everything into one and just work every day. So I try to make a conscious effort to be like, no, this is the weekend. Let me just shut off and stuff. So I
feel like that's a really fast way to get burnout is by never taking a day off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I learned like hard like last year. So I tried to make sure this year, like if ever I have to work weekends, it's only ever a couple of times, and then I'm like, I need to.
Yeah, I've like I said, I've worked from home for years, and I've learned that you have to have that pacing. You have to have that like separation. I know some people it can be tough depending on how much living space you have. If you can put your office in a separate office or a separate room where you normally aren't in all the time for like, if you stream and sleep in the same room and like you're always doing that, like it can be very difficult mentally to separate those things. That's why a lot of times if you watch a lot of TV shows and movies in bed, it can be tough to fall asleep because you're always watching, like your brain is active.
It's your entertainment place too. You get into bed and you're like, okay, time to watch a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of time to go to sleep.
Yeah, so that type of stuff, I know it can be difficult depending on how much living space you have. So I understand if you have to combine those things, but if you can separate those things from different spaces, it can make a huge difference. And then respect it. Like on a day off, you don't actually go in and do that work on the day off or mess with the stuff in the room.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I like to have the game console set up in my living room and not in my office. Yeah, is because like I can go down there, put the feet up on the coffee table and relax. I'm not recording video. I'm not thinking about like anything besides just having a good time playing a game. Everybody in the family is kind of like in and out of the living room kind of all day, so it's more social than being in an office. You know.
Yeah, that's nice.
I've heard people go so far as to, like, when they pay bills, they take their laptop and then they go to the kitchen table, right? Because that's where you pay bill, right?
Oh,
or like,
interesting.
You know, like stuff like that. I think that's pretty smart too.
Yeah, that's something I started doing. Well, not specifically the bill thing, but like I got an iPad like a year ago, iPad Pro, and I've been using that specifically for like emails, any kind of administrative type of work, and I always bring it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So like I split the flow somewhat, even if it's just a different room, you know.
I'm gonna start doing my taxes while sitting on the toilet then, just to associate it, because I don't like the tax man and be like, you know what? While I'm making a deposit, I'll also make another deposit. That would be it.
Knock it out, 2 deposits.
Exactly right. Like, this is what I think of you, Mr. Taxman. Anyway.
This year has been awesome for that because I'm just mailing stuff. I don't even have to go to the office, my tax guy's office. Like, so I'm just mailing him the stuff he needs. I don't even have to go, which is really, there's a couple of things that have actually been really awesome about this whole social distancing thing. That's one of them. Last night, me and the wife, we decided we wanted Mexican food. So we called a local Mexican restaurant. They told us, just pull up to the curb and tell us your number. We pull up to the curb. We tell them their number. They bring out in bags our food. They're all covered in masks. They got rubber gloves on, you know, like super safe. They wouldn't even stand near the window. They just kind of hand it to you and then back up. They take your credit card, run it, and he's wiping it down with a Clorox wipe as he's bringing it back out. I was like,
yeah, that's great.
These guys are my new heroes. And they had a sign up. You can buy tequila from the restaurant, bottles of tequila. And for every bottle of tequila you get, they give you a free roll of toilet paper.
Oh my God. That's the best place ever.
How many times are you going to be visiting this place? A lot, right?
I have found my new favorite place.
That's amazing.
Now that would be how you can tell it's like, oh, we're running low on toilet paper. You look at the wall, be like, no, we still got 12 bottles of tequila. We're good.
I do expect that my toilet paper usage will go up as my tequila intake goes up.
Yeah, I was going to say
this is true.
Strong correlation there.
This is true.
I wanted to post that on Twitter, but I was afraid it would get like negative feedback, like they're hoarding toilet paper so they could sell them. I think this is just a funny joke, but like I didn't want to like put anybody out there on the internet.
No, it's fair. I like how when you describe that whole exchange, it sounds like one of those spy movies. Like you turn up, you're like, "Hey, I'm Red Eagle." They're like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm Blue Panda." Yeah, Blue Panda. The eagle has landed. You know, you may now leave.
Give me the code.
Funnily, that's exactly how the vet goes. It's exactly the same. They don't let you go in.
Really?
I put Bella on the like pavement. They come and pick her up. They're wearing full, like almost full suits of protective gear.
Really?
And then they go in and then they call you on the phone when they're doing the consultation. So the vet's talking to you while they're doing everything.
Wow.
You don't go into anywhere anymore. It's all just drop off and pick up and do stuff over the phone.
Wild. And
it sucks on many, many levels, but every once in a while you run into a situation where like, hey man, this is actually kind of cool. If I buy something at Best Buy, I can just pull up to the door and then bring it out of the store to me.
And they're like very cleanly about it all. People are being super, super cleanly, which of course you need to right now. And of course, lots of things are terrible, but knowing that people are constantly spraying down everything and wiping down everything is actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have always kept Clorox wipes in my cup holder because, you know, when I do photo shoots, I'm taking paperwork and like, I've had actually a piece of paper given to me that had a booger on it. Like that is a true story. So like Clorox wipes, I've always kind of been always about those Clorox wipes and like keeping my hands clean because I don't want to get sick.
Absolutely.
But like now it feels like everybody's just all the time sanitizing their hands, which is good. I think it's good. I think we should just maintain that.
We should keep doing that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Just keep that cleanliness, outside of pandemics. Let's stay clean.
Let's get rid of the con crud due to us being super clean. That'd be great.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
Well, speaking of viruses and infections, let's talk Resident Evil.
All right.
Look at that segue. I like that.
Yeah.
But also umbrellas.
Umbrella Corporation and that their T virus, right? Isn't it T virus?
Yes. T virus. Yep.
So
the original is T virus.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 3 came out. The remake came out last weekend or Friday. And it's had mixed reviews, mixed reception, right?
A little bit.
Really? That's surprising after the overwhelmingly positive one that Resident Evil 2 remake got.
Right. I definitely have thoughts about this. I played on hardcore. I beat it on hardcore. It took about 8 hours. I have not played the original RE3, so I don't have that frame of reference. Okay. I will say I enjoyed it. I felt like it was a Resident Evil game. I was solving some stuff, shooting zombies. I was rationing my supplies and all that. And I enjoyed it. I did stream it all in one go. So it is definitely not like super long by any means. But it also is bundled with Resistance, the other Resident Evil like multiplayer thing. I didn't play that. Yeah. I didn't even play that. So I don't even have like.
Is that new or is that a remake as well?
I think it's a remake. Right?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I think so.
I know there's been a lot of like multiplayer Resident Evil things that I've never really cared about.
That never really took off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I understand the complaints about the game's like story / feel, because in comparison, Resident Evil 2 is definitely a better game, just straight up. It feels more like a video game where in portions of Resident Evil 3, you actually go back to, or I mean, it's set in the same area, set roughly the same timeline, and you have a point where you go back to the Raccoon City police area, and you see those doors that you have to have a specific key for, and it reminds you that none of that is in Resident Evil 3, like having to find a certain thing and then backtrack.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not really. I mean, you have a few things where you have to get stuff to unlock to the next area, but Resident Evil 1 and 2 have this broad, like, horror puzzle type of feel to it, and Resident Evil 3 feels like an action game.
Yeah, and Resident Evil 3, the original, was always more actiony. I do think, I mean, this could totally be the fact that I haven't played the original in a while, but I do think that the original Resident Evil 3 had a bit more of a spooky vibe. From what I recall.
So
I remember Nemesis being terrifying. Like I played that game when it was new on the PlayStation, and it was terrifying.
So Nemesis was terrifying, and there was a few times I actually had a jump scare because the Nemesis popped out, and I was like, "What are you doing, Nemesis? Quit it!" I had to call him Nem-Nems to like soften the scare. Be like, "Oh, Nem-Nems, you stop it, Nem-Nems." I think Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 was a better antagonist type of thing that was chasing you, because also it was basically the majority of the game he was running around. But
when we learned about Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, my immediate thought is, what are they going to do in Resident Evil 3? Because this is a gameplay like this. Mr. X was basically Nemesis.
Yeah.
But wasn't that in RE2? Again, I didn't play the original, so I don't know.
I believe it was in the original.
Yeah.
I think so. From what I've seen, and you can let me know if you feel this as well, Tefty, from what I've seen of criticism and reviews. So it's scoring about a 6 out of 10 or 50 to 60%. So in the original Resident Evil 3, there were these moments that they weren't like quick reaction moments, but they were moments in the game where you had to make a decision that would drastically alter the path that you took. So the first one that you come into contact with is when you get to the police station and it pops up saying, do you want to run into the police station or do you want to like go run somewhere? And depending on which one you choose really alters the path that you end up taking. And there's multiple paths that can end up switching and going down different ways. So I know that isn't in the remake, which was disappointing to a lot of people that played the first, because it is very linear and it's like you go one way, you do the game and that's it. There's not different paths to take. So I think that's one thing that I could totally get, that people
Yeah.
are like, oh, well, I missed the different pathways.
Because that's kind of like not having route A or B in Resident Evil
Right.
2, right? Like if they took out those
Yeah.
routings and just made one pathway. Like
Yeah.
I definitely understand that aspect of it. I do, however, understand that I don't think Resident Evil 3 was as good of a game, just straight up. So like, some people might flame me for this, and flame away. It's all good. But I think the bones of RE3 just weren't as good as the bones of RE2. I think RE2 was a better video game from the get.
Originally?
Yeah, the original. And I think
I would agree
RE3
with that.
tried these things where they wanted to be more action and more instead of like the puzzly horror vibe, it was more action. Because like Nemesis straight up chases you and you do some crazy stuff, and like the sequences by the time you finish the game is like, what the hell was that? Like, this is some Michael Bay horror stuff happening.
I mean, like, I'm not really one for these kind of games anyway, so it's not really my jam. But like, at least when I was playing Resident Evil 2, even when I was just doing like some of the preview stuff, I'm like, all right, Mr. X walks slow enough. I can run away. I can run around the houses. I can climb some ladders. It's fine. Like, I didn't, because I don't play Resident Evil 3 as well, so I didn't know what to expect. So when I was doing the capture for this, I'm just like, oh, you know, there's Nemesis. That's fine. I'll do the run around. I swear this guy must have been training with like the ninjas in the Naruto, like Shinobi stalkers. I'm just like, my guy walk around and jumps over somewhere, grab me with his tentacles. Like, nope. Like in a game like this, I want to be able to know that if I run behind this door, he's not chasing me. And I'm like, no, that was too much. That was too much. So I was like, I have had enough. So I played like an hour, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it.
It's interesting what you say, because the original Resident Evil 2 was like a mind-blowing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a huge game compared to the first one, right? As it had basically two campaigns, as you played as two different characters all the way through. Like, you know, it was this huge, expansive. You played through in a city as well as in a mansion. Like, it was just an enormous game. And then Resident Evil 3, like, I remember Resident Evil 3 getting like kind of like a lukewarm reception when it came out. But that may, you know, it's hard to remember way back then. You know?
Sure. Well, I understand like, that they cut things out and there was budgetary stuff that went on behind the scenes right there. But I can't imagine the game being that much better. You know, like having played both, I understand that some of that stuff's missing, but I don't think it's going to make it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 or something like that. It's not going to be on par with R2.
That far. I think so. Something that I did kind of feel watching playthroughs, because you can pretty much sit down and watch. If you can totally watch an entire stream, because if someone's playing on normal, it will be about 5 hours. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
hardcore is obviously a bit longer. But one thing I did notice, and again, this might be me not having played the original exactly recently, but in the original, I think they did a better job of making it feel like Nemesis was attacking you randomly instead of being super
scripted.
Scripted, yeah. But watching playthroughs of the remake, it feels like it's, oh, here's Nemesis, here's a cutscene, here's a like action sequence. Whereas in the original, it was like you were just walking down the street and like, okay, cool, nothing's here, and then he jumps over a bus and then chases you through all the safe rooms, and I know it wasn't random, but I think they made it feel a bit more random.
Resident Evil 3 also might have been, was it the last game that had the tank controls, or was that Code Veronica? I don't know. But like, things were more terrifying when you were restricted with the tank controls. These modern controls, you feel much more mobile. You feel much more capable of defending yourself. Yeah, it's true. I wonder if that takes in, like, that has some of the why it's not as scary as it used to be.
It's like the camera and everything, right? Because they show you very specific angles in the originals because you can't move the camera, which kind of makes it all feel a bit spookier.
So
I love how you say you're much more capable of defending yourself. When I can't shoot a zombie to save my life in this game, because you know you have the shrinking reticle thing they did in number 2 as well. Yeah. So I'm sitting there panicking, just be like, I want to shoot this guy. And I'm like, I have to pace myself, and then I miss it, and I just start firing. I swear, the first time they ever gave you bullets, I didn't even kill that guy. I was like, it's not. I'm not very good. You can probably tell I'm not very good at this game.
Okay, one thing that is actually annoying in the game is the dodge window. So they have this dodge mechanic. I don't know if it was in the original, but like if a zombie lunges at you and you hit the dodge button at the right time, it creates that parry dodge window where time slows down and you can react and all that. It's when it works, it's cool, but it seems buggy. Where half the time you do the exact same window, and it's like, no, it didn't work that time. And then for me on PC, the zombie would grab you, and then it would have like a thing to try to like push away the zombie. That never worked ever, not once. Anytime I was grabbed, it was an automatic 100% you're getting bit, no matter what. So
interesting.
That was annoying, to say the least, to deal with. And I don't know if I was just doing things incorrectly, but also that dodge window seemed buggy. So during boss fights, it was like, come on, man, I dodged at the right time. What the hell? It's like strange. So that was annoying. But overall, I enjoyed it. I definitely had fun. Is it worth $60? I think that's the biggest thing.
They're charging $60.
Yeah,
they're charging $60 for this.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
because a lot of people were saying that they feel like it should have been a DLC for Resident Evil 2 instead of a standalone game, because you do visit a lot of the same areas, which is cool. And then it's like, oh yeah, like this is from Resident Evil 2 after everything goes to complete crap, and that's cool. But I think people are like, well, I just played in this area like very recently.
Yeah.
Maybe it's quite short just by how fast it came out.
Maybe Yeah, it's tough to say. Like, I think if you're a hardcore fan and you just absolutely love the franchise, I think the $60 is going to be like whatever. Unless, of course, you're completely broke. Then that's a different situation. But I think for hardcore
people
fans,
are definitely more aware of how they're spending money right now.
Totally, yeah. I think for hardcore Resident Evil franchise fans, it's going to be an automatic buy, and it's still fun, no doubt about it. But if you're like a peripheral, like I like Resident Evil here and there, then you might want to wait for it to go on sale, because if you don't play the resistance mode, then you are looking at like basically 5 to 8 hours first playthrough. You can do subsequent playthroughs because I believe there's higher difficulties that get unlocked and things are changed, item placements and all that. It's just. So in Resident Evil 1 and 2, it was more interesting to go through those again because that horror vibe, I think, is emphasized with the fact that you repeat areas to unlock things that you didn't have access to before, and then suddenly some new enemy shows up. Like that was one of the things with Mr. X suddenly is in this area in Resident Evil 2 where he wasn't before, and it's like, okay, and then the lickers show up and they're placed in certain areas that you've already tread back and forth multiple times in Resident Evil 2. That added a lot of horror and suspense and just frightening moments. And those just aren't in RE3. Yeah.
So what do you guys want to see out of the next Resident Evil that comes out? Are you hoping for Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil 4, or are you hoping for like a brand new Resident Evil 8?
Well, 8's confirmed, right?
Code Veronica was supposed to be Resident Evil 3, right? Because Resident Evil 3 is kind of like more of a spin-off, whereas Code Veronica you play as more of the... I don't remember.
I never played it.
I don't remember. It's been so long.
I vaguely remember something about Code Veronica was supposed to be a mainstay title.
I thought it was weird when I played Resident Evil Code Veronica because that was the only one that I played on the Dreamcast. I think 3 did come out on the Dreamcast as well, but it didn't have a number to it, so I always assumed it was a side story. Also, didn't it happen? It was like in this weird castle with these like, it wasn't Umbrella.
I do not remember.
Man, it's been too long. Yeah,
it's been so long.
I did not play it.
That series has gone some weird places too.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see a new, I want to see Resident Evil 8. After what they did with Resident Evil 7, I was just so blown away by it. It was one of my favorite games the year it came out. And Resident Evil 2 was fantastic, but I'd already played Resident Evil 2, so I really was looking forward to a new experience. And now I'm really looking forward to a new experience now.
Well, 8's on its way.
Yeah. Do they have a release window for it? Or is it going to be the next thing they release?
I think it's just a rumor, right?
Yeah,
I thought it's in the works. I think we know it's in the works, so I would say it's a bit above a rumor.
RE3 was a rumor, and then all of a sudden it's like, here it is, RE3. Same thing with RE2. So they've been doing this thing where they remake something and then release a new thing and then remake something. And it seems like RE8 is coming next year, assuming delays don't affect it heavily, because a lot of things are getting delayed.
Yeah, there have been a lot of delays, haven't there?
So it's possible it could get bumped outside of 2021. But I'm assuming if they remain on schedule, RE8 would be somewhere between January to March of 2021. And then their next remake, which rumor is it's Code Veronica, because apparently that's sequential after RE3 would be Code Veronica.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they
Interesting
said
thing
they're
is,
not
though-
planning on remaking Resident Evil 4. I believe I heard that somewhere.
I heard that too.
They need to remake that.
Yes, they do.
I think that's
they
the-
do.
Oh yeah,
Trust
why's
me.
that?
Because that
Why?
it still looks old. Like you want it in that new RE engine. That engine looks fantastic. Though that's
is
something that we didn't
beautiful.
mention. RE3 looks great. It's a
Yes.
great looking game. Beautiful.
The character models are insane.
Insane, right? And the hair dynamics, like it
The
is
hair. Carlos, your hair is
Carlos's
amazing.
mop, because he's got a pandemic mop, a quarantining mop, and like it looks
The
great.
internet-
Yeah,
The internet has appointed him as the new 2020 sex symbol. So.
there you go.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So the game looks fantastic, and RE4 remake or the game RE4 doesn't look as good. Just straight up, they need to remake
Well,
it.
no, it's an old game. but
Exactly.
When's the last time they re-released RE4? Was it in the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era? Did they do it in the modern era? I'd be surprised actually if it didn't come out for PS4 and Xbox One.
Did it?
Is it on
I don't
Switch? Actually, it might be on Switch.
I don't think we're equipped to
I have
answer this question,
no
Briar.
idea.
Well,
Apparently
chat says it came
PS4.
out in PS4.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, let's have it on the RE engine because that engine is awesome. Looks
Yeah.
great.
I played
It
that.
is a great engine.
Did that game originally come out for the GameCube? Was that the first time it was released?
Yeah, I think so.
GameCube.
I remember
and
that I
then-
purchased a GameCube to play Resident Evil, so.
Yeah.
so.
Do you still have your GameCube?
My mom might. Yeah.
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 I want.
And then I remember
I want
actually
4K
playing
texture
on
maps.
GameCube. Yeah, I remember playing on GameCube and then playing through it again on the Wii because it was so fun to use the Wii controls to shoot guys.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I was VR at the time. That was as close as I got to
That
VR.
was Briar's-
So if you look at the timeline, though, if they continue down this stepping, next year RE8, all right, that's 2021.
Yeah.
Then Code Veronica would be 2022. 2023 RE9, 2024.
Well, they're not
Resident
going
Evil 4?
alternate years. Last year was RE2. This year is RE3.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
Hmm.
So they could just throw a new coat of paint on RE4, then I'll play that version. Great, done.
And let's just not talk about Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's just
Erase the
ignore it.
timeline.
Yeah, it never
Some
happened.
people are huge fans of RE5, but I don't think there's any fans of RE6.
I can't remember them. They all blow into one. They're all just scary.
They're all scary. There's a virus. There's
Yeah.
guys. I shoot
There were
them. It's-
there was a huge controversy on the internet with RE5 that it was racist too because your characters went down to Africa and the zombies were African.
What?
Yeah.
For real?
including African characters doesn't make something racist. I wouldn't assume.
Yeah.
That's
Because
reaching.
before, the people in Raccoon City were zombies.
Right.
And they were diverse people. Let me tell you, there were all sorts of people who were zombies.
Isn't it in
Raccoon
Oregon?
City.
Raccoon City?
I don't remember.
I do remember. I vaguely remember a controversy at the time that it came out,
It was a big controversy.
but it was offset by the fact that there was one of the hottest ladies in the Resident Evil franchise, Resident Evil 5.
Chris Redfield?
Yeah.
What hot lady?
Definitely.
Have you seen him in pumps?
Those big old biceps.
Oh man, hilarious. So yeah, if you're a fan of the franchise, I think it's worth the play for sure. You could also probably wait 3-4 months, and it's probably going to be on sale for 50% off. You could pick it up then, no problem.
I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
That's the plan.
$60 is a bit much, but
For 5 to 8 hours, yeah, I'd say.
Unless you go into the multiplayer and love it.
yeah, you might love the multiplayer. And again, I didn't play it, so I have no idea. I know some people like that. That's one of the things
You could
people are saying
always-
it's 2 games in one.
Yeah, true. You could always save your $60 and buy a Final Fantasy instead.
Or toilet paper.
I'll toilet
Or
paper and
tequila toilet
Tequila,
paper.
Mexican
Oh,
food,
tequila
tequila.
and toilet paper.
Let's hear about Final Fantasy VII. I'm very excited about this.
Yes.
Ooh, it's tell me it's
Yeah.
gotten some good reviews, right?
It has
The
got a lot of
reviews
good
have come
reviews,
out
a lot of,
today.
like- Yeah, I think Metacritic right now is sitting at 88, 89. Or that was this morning. I haven't checked it, like where it sort of settled at the moment.
Okay.
Let's have a look. It was
So Eric, you've played it, right?
I have played. I'm on the penultimate chapter, but then guys, my guys on the channel as well have completed it, so it has been finished. So yeah.
Nice.
It's good. It's very good. I'm not, for the people that are listening or watching, we're not going to speak spoilers in here, so fear not. We're not going to touch on story stuff. But
no
yeah,
spoilers
it's
at all.
Yeah, no spoilers. But honestly, I mean, so it's interesting because so within the team, 26 and Paradise have completed it, and they previously played Final Fantasy 7. I never played the original, so I don't have a point of reference. So I'm actually experiencing Final Fantasy 7 for the very first time as a remake, which is.
Did you cry?
I've never cried at a video game or a movie, so I don't know whether I'm just like a soulless like monster or something.
Yeah, you are.
So yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I was able to. So I don't want to get. I can play Final Fantasy right now, but I don't want to get into it because I want to stream it as soon as I can and have all the reactions be genuine. But I did play for like 5 minutes, and I think I spent those entire 5 minutes crying because the music.
Really?
Because I've been to all the Final Fantasy concerts, and it's like a huge part of my childhood. So they're playing the song that I hear in the concert, and I'm just like, oh God, it's real. I was panicking, so then I put the game away.
Fair.
I will continue crying on Thursday.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think maybe I just have like no soul, because yeah, when it comes to like video games or movies or anything like that, I'm just like, this is the emotional scene. This is where I should feel upset. But
did you watch Up?
I did, yeah. He was great. I loved it.
Watch Old Yeller.
I think Up is more cry-worthy.
Up
than Old Yeller.
Up hits you in the feels, man. It gives you life perspective.
I also watched what was it, Firefly, the Ghibli. I don't know, is it Ghibli? Yeah, the Ghibli Firefly. And everyone's like, oh, everyone cries at this. I'm just like, it was a good film.
Yeah, you're dead inside.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Eric's is like that old man and Up had it coming.
Yep. I was just like, hey, you know what? It was a nice movie, man. But yeah, so I maybe that's why I'm immune to just like opinions on video games. I'm just like, yep, it's fine.
Have you seen Marley? Marley and Me?
I don't think so. No. It's now gonna be the quest to make Eric's cry in
yeah. I think,
will he cry?
That is the current quest.
Yeah.
It's like the Will It
I
Blend
cry at
series.
everything, man. I like tears just roll down my face at the slightest thing, especially animals getting killed.
Oh yeah, that's definitely rough.
Don't kill the dog, man. I'm with John Wick on this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the thing. Like, if the dog got killed, I'd be pissed, but I wouldn't be like,
what?
I mean, no, because I'm a pet owner, so I appreciate the emotion, but I think in a film, I'd be more like, I'm angry for this guy. I'm gonna go get revenge, as opposed to
Eric's
like,
is the type to go on a revenge mission.
Oh, so
cry.
he's there. He's got the feelings. Maybe he just
maybe
doesn't cry.
my tear ducts are broken or something. Maybe I'm a robot. You know, Bill and Ted, where they peel their face off and it actually turns out you're a robot. That would be awesome.
Oh, this is a great tangent.
Imagine that. Sorry, anyone that's tuning in, they're like, oh yeah, I want to hear what they think about Final Fantasy. And now we're talking about being cyborgs, and you know what? But yeah, Final Fantasy is good.
Okay.
There you go. That's it. Next game.
Do you recommend it as a fun video game?
I would definitely. Yeah, no, I would definitely recommend it. So the thing is, it's interesting because obviously, I have no point of reference from the original one, but the fact that this is, because obviously it is set in chapters, this one is 100% Midgar. So like, you know, anything that happens for people that have played the original one, anything where you leave Midgar is not in this game. Like, this is just Midgar. They've said that, you know, that's not a spoiler. They said that before. That's how they're structuring these chapters. Like, this is the Midgar chapter. I don't know how many chapters there will be. I don't know how many more versions they will do, but that's all you're going to do. So,
how big is this game?
Like, you know,
how big is chapter 1?
So if you play through Golden, I played through the main story. I did all the side quests as well. Because the side quest system, we'll touch on it in a minute, but it's actually like a really cool system anyway. So I did all the side quests, did all that. I'm on the second to last chapter, and I'm currently sitting at 30 hours. So it's basically looking at around 35 hours for like your conventional playthrough, including side quests.
Okay.
But the thing is, there's side quests and there's some like additional stuff you can do, some like battle intel stuff. So then there's the opportunity to go back after and like redo some other stuff you might have missed. So if you then want to go and do like absolutely everything, like I've done everything that the game deems a side quest, but there's like additional activities and things you can kind of go and do as well. So if you want to go back and do all that, you could probably quite easily push like 40, 50, maybe 60 hours, something like that. So it's a good sizable game, considering it is what I've been told from other people, like a chunk of what was in the original game, not actually that big.
No,
Like
yeah.
the Midgard section.
Yeah, I don't remember the first part being particularly
me neither.
lengthy.
Yeah.
I remember it taking my entire life. I never got past it. Let me ask you about the combat a little bit, because
combat,
like it looks like it's much more action oriented, right? Is it like real time combat? Like you're just running around fighting stuff, and
like Final
your
Fantasy
stats
15
matter about how much damage you're doing?
So yes, definitely. They've done it like a really sensible way, because like it is real time, so you have complete real time control over everyone. But like, so what happens is, you have like every character has just a kind of a generic like square move, which you just use to like hack and slash, or if you're playing Barrett, fire bullets or things like that. And then you have your abilities, which are your ATB. So as you start to attack and as you're in a battle, you build up ATB meter, and then you go and select from your panel. And then when you go into the menu to select like your, I don't know, like a move for Cloud to do like a powerful move with his Buster Sword, it goes into like super slow bullet time, so that the field is still moving, but you're then able to navigate through the menu, which is a really, really cool system. So suddenly what you end up doing is like you go in, and the thing is, it's interesting because my only one sort of pet peeve in combat is that like everyone, like you control one character and then the other two are kind of running around doing their own thing. When you're not controlling someone else, they're not doing a great deal. They'll do some things passively, but they won't perform as optimally. But then I was speaking to someone today, and it's like, actually, in some ways, it kind of makes sense, because it's almost like it's giving you the foundation to then play it semi like it was before, because it's like a turn-based thing, right? So if you think of it like you go in with Cloud, you rack up some combo, build some ATB meter, quickly go to his like abilities and select like a move for him to do. And while he's performing that move, you then dynamically switch to the next character, take control of them, build some ATB, use their ability, switch to the next person. So they're all still like moving in real time and everything's happening. But I feel like the best way to play it, and the way you actually want to play it, is to actively be swapping with your characters like all the time. It's not one of those ones where it's like, I just like Cloud, I'm going to let the other guys, because in some RPGs, like some JRPGs, you pick like your, if it's like a real time one, you can play as the main character, so to speak, and the other ones kind of just run around and heal you and cast stuff, and you can almost forget about them. But this one is very much like they want you to be taking control of the characters and like playing them, and they're all playing like really, really cool ways. But yeah, combat is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, from what I've seen, they did a really good job at making it feel like if you did play the original, you might be turned off by like Final Fantasy 15's type gameplay. But they did a really good job at keeping the kind of essence of the original while also updating it. So I think that's one thing I've always seen is with the combat. I think they did a really good job on that.
Nice.
Plus, there's different ways that you can play. Like you can choose to have different ways of playing instead of just it being more difficult. The kind of battling changes. So if you just want to focus on the story, you can kind of choose a different battle system for that. So I think they did a great job with battle system wise.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do we know if your particular character progression is going to carry over for the next episode? Like, will you be able to import that save?
Interesting.
They haven't said anything on that, and someone raised that kind of question today because, like, one of my friends that's playing, obviously he's maxed out and hit like the level cap for the characters. So obviously it's like if you took that into the next thing, would you be super high level? I feel like to a degree something needs to carry over. Whether it'll kind of do that sort of Mass Effect thing where it like detects like a previous save, but then doesn't necessarily bring your characters exactly. So, but I feel like there needs to be some kind of thing because it would be really weird because there's going to be the two sides of it. On one side, they're obviously going to be like, well, you want to continue the story, so you obviously to do that. But then on the other side, they're also going to want to make sure that if someone for some reason doesn't play this one and then the next one comes out, they're probably still going to want to let them jump in. I would hazard a guess it'll probably just have that system where it's like, we detected a save file, and carries on and maybe like brings over some items. But yeah, they've said nothing on it. We don't actually know how it'll work out.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you don't want to be overpowered for the next episode.
Yeah.
But maybe
do you feel like you made any choices in this game that you would carry over?
So loosely, not massively, no. But the interesting thing is, and I'll answer this in a way that will not give anyone spoilers. But there's a couple of kind of like loose conversations in game, and like when it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, you're chatting to someone, you have an option to pick like one of three different things, and I thought nothing of it. I thought, oh, it's just a passing conversation. You kind of get a slightly different dialogue. But it's only when speaking to my friends today that it influences things like ever so slightly. Like there's like there's a different one of my friends got a different cutscene to me at a certain point in the game.
Interesting.
And then there's when another certain thing happens in the game, there's like, depending on what you said earlier, you're wearing like a different costume. So there's a few things. Nothing's like heavily game changing. It's not one of those ones where like some JRPGs, like if you say this now, this person is gonna leave your team and like die or something like that. You know, there seems to apparently some of those conversation things that I just thought were kind of just thrown in actually do have subtle effects on what you see. So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
That was cool. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So I mean, overall, definitely like there's like for me, yeah, because the part of the reason I never went back to play the original is, I mean, obviously I've never been a huge fan of turn-based. Like apart from like Pokemon and like things like Advance Wars, where like I like those ones. Like generally speaking, I'm just not a turn-based guy. Like I can appreciate it, but it's just not my thing. So obviously this has always kind of appealed to me. But like there's so many cool systems in this. I mean, like the combat in itself is really cool. The weapon upgrade system is also really cool because you'll get new weapons, but then and some in like some JRPGs you'll be like you might get a new weapon, you think that's all right, but I still prefer what I've got. The kind of encouragement to keep swapping weapons in this is that every weapon has a unique ability. Like it's basically like a unique move, and if you use that weapon and use that move enough, you then unlock that move permanently, irrespective of what weapon you're using.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. So you might
it's like Code Vein.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So you might go through and like in the game get like eight different like swords for Cloud, and every time you get it, you're like, I'm going to use it long enough to unlock this move, so that I can go back to the weapon I like, and then still have that cool badass new move.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah. So that was.
So is that with every character too?
Yeah. Every character.
Like
so
a new gun for Barrett or something.
Be swapping around.
Delicious.
Yeah, so there's that, and obviously,
cool.
Then there's like the weapon upgrade system is
something like that. If that didn't carry over, I'd be disappointed. Like if I had unlocked all the weapons abilities, and then on episode 2 or chapter 2, whatever, like the next installment, if that didn't carry over with me, I'd feel a little bit like
5 years when part 2 comes out. Are you?
That's true.
I really hope it's not long.
When the economic frontier is completely different.
Midgar. I'm gonna be like, it's been 7 years. I need to go replay Midgar, guys. Here we go.
Yeah, but like it's been
playing
so
episode 2 on your PlayStation 6.
It'll be the point where they're like, well, episode 3 was going to come out, but then we remade episode 1 again. Now that you're on PS6 with new technology, and they're like, now we're going to remake
episode 1.
It's a remake of a remake of a remake.
I'm kind of hoping though. Like, I'm kind of hoping that in light of them, because I would like to think again, I'm not a game developer, but I'd like to think from a developer point of view, like a lot of the foundational groundwork. There's obviously like a lot of like creation stuff, but a lot of like the engine and logic and like all that kind of work will now have been built as a foundation.
Right.
And I would almost like to think that for like the next chapter, it's more so just like a content thing, like creating the environments, creating the story. So maybe, I'd love it if they could try and shoot for like every year a new chapter comes out, whether that's possible.
Yes.
How
many chapters would you think there is?
I'm not sure.
Gotta be at least 3.
Well, I mean, if this is just Midgar,
yeah.
What I would have to do is look up like each section of the original of like how it progresses, and see if we can make a assessment.
Yeah.
They said they haven't even begun chapter 2 as of a month or so ago. Is that real? Is that true? Please tell me that's not true.
Oh my god.
Hard yikes.
Oh, damn.
Damn. We talked about Doom a couple of weeks ago. Doom Eternal a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to briefly reopen that subject because I've been playing a little bit more of it, and I kind of just wanted to, like, I was so positive and so excited about it, like in the first few hours of play, in the first 6 hours of play. But I gotta say, my mind has kind of been changed a little bit about it as I progressed further in the game.
What changed your mind?
There were a couple of things. I found that I was getting bored of the platforming stuff. It was interrupting the fun I was having of shooting things and like the chaos and the carnage and the rip and tear that 2016 Doom was so good at. I found this game was slowing things down on such a regular basis that it lost some of the kinetic energy that I really loved 2016 Doom for so much. And
like in between fights or during fights, platforming?
No, in between fights mainly. But there's like, for instance, like you'll finish like a segment, you'll go to the ship and you'll wander around the ship for I would say a good 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much stuff there is to do and unlock at the ship. Then you get transported to your next level. You know, you might see like a little cutscene for the next level. Then you'll go fight some stuff. Then you'll have like a platforming challenge. Like, okay, now you've got to like get to this tower and figure out how to get to that tower. And you'll spend, a little bit of time figuring out what that tower, how to do that platforming. And it's just not as much. I'm not having as much fun playing this game as I had playing Doom 2016 because it's just not as. Doom 2016 it seemed to be like a game that was stripped down to the core, and it was just distilled fun. Whereas this game, it's like they took that base game of Doom and then they started adding things to it that don't necessarily, in my mind, add to the formula in huge ways.
I mean, there was platforming in 2016.
Yeah, but not nearly as much.
Yeah, there's definitely more movement in Eternal.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up that at all. I enjoyed all the platforming. I thought the puzzle solving was fun. I thought it was actually a nice break in between the combat. The only thing that really pissed me off was those Marauders, because I felt like
Marauders.
I felt like they really disrupted the combat flow because you had to just suddenly stop and focus on them. Like, did you have problems with Marauders?
No, but I was playing on an easier difficulty level than you were.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there was different. Like, I didn't love them because they're so different. Like you said, is like the combat kind of has to stop for the Marauders because you have to fight them so differently than you fight anything else.
Yeah, it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't have that. Like, Doom 2016, I was just compelled to keep playing because it was so exciting. And in this game, I guess the story was a little bit weirder too. It was like they must have different writers or something because
they definitely
everything about Doom 2016 was just so streamlined. It was like it just kind of pushed you forward and kind of kept you like just wrecking shit. And in this game, like I just kind of felt like, okay, I'm getting into that mode, and then I stop because there's something like, Doom 2016 was so unique because of how streamlined it was. Whereas this game, like it still has that DNA, but it's not as streamlined as 2016 was.
Fascinating. Definitely, I definitely don't share that opinion with it.
That's okay. Fascinating. You're wrong. Moving on.
I mean, well, I'm thinking about the difficulty-wise. If you play on a harder difficulty, you're like very appreciative of those moments that give you a break because you're on hyper focus.
Have you tried getting good?
Yeah, and I beat the game. It was great. I was like, whew, I finally got good. Man, this is crazy. But like there was a few times where mentally I was exhausted after a fight, and the platforming was like, this is such a nice break right now because I am recharging my mental focus. If I was playing on a easier difficulty and I just blew through the combat and then got to another platformer, I could understand that then of how like, I want to rip stuff up more. Like I need more combat.
I think that's the same reason I've always been slightly disappointed with the Wolfenstein combat is because like the combat in Doom 2016 is just so fun and so frenetic, and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. I don't know. Like it's a different feeling. This Eternal game has a different feeling to me, and it took me a while to figure out like what it was. I think I'm there. I think I figured it out, but
that's fair.
Like I've stopped playing Doom Eternal, and
you didn't finish it.
No, I stopped playing it. I just got bored. There's too many games right now.
Briar.
Oh, I guess that's because now it will eternally be in your backlog. So it is truly Doom Eternal.
That's true. That's true. Maybe if they patch it to make it a better game, then I'll come back to it.
Damn. Fighting words right there.
Quick question for you though.
I'm gonna steal your tequila.
Have you had a chance to play Half-Life Alex now? Because I'm curious because you're the VR.
No, I haven't. I've got it downloaded, but I haven't actually gotten a chance to play it.
We need this.
I'm definitely curious about that. Yeah.
Review from our resident VR expert.
It's true.
Have you guys seen this new capture card from Elgato?
Wait, hold on. Before you,
the 4K portal.
Wait, before we bring that up, did you finish Ori in the Will of the Wisps?
No, not yet. I'm still working on it.
How far did you get?
I'm only playing. I'm not sure actually. Like I don't know the percentage.
Okay. I finished it. I've played all the way through this last week, and I played on hard. It was a phenomenal experience. Loved
Oh yeah, that game is awesome.
everything except for one area. And if you haven't been there yet, I hear it's easier on lower difficulties, but like the game is masterfully crafted, like just an incredible experience. Like all the animations, lovingly crafted, the sound design, the story. Eric's, if you don't cry at Ori, like I think you are a zombie. I think you are a machine zombie.
I'll have to see.
It's got this theme of like, you know, the Mother Earth, Father Sky, like the Tree of Life type of stuff that all comes together. Beautiful stuff. And then like as you're getting close to the end, you have to do this one sequence, and you've already done these sequences where you run through stuff and you get these visual masterpieces that are shown of just stuff happening and the boss is chasing you and the world, like the platform is shifting and changing. And then you get to this end part and it is utter BS. Absolute garbage. Like straight up, here's Cuphead now. You've been playing this game, suddenly Cuphead for like one of the like second to last levels. Like this is a progression blocking area. I was like, this is complete garbage, man. There's no checkpoints in between. You have to do these perfect jumps. Like it expects you to get extremely good really fast. When the whole time on playing hard, it felt like a really good balance where I was like, yeah, this is great. You know, some things were challenging, but I could redo it a few times and get through it. And the other sequences where you had to run past stuff and get good on the platforming, there was these checkpoints. So it wasn't ball busting difficult.
Oh, was there no good checkpoint?
Zero. There's 0 checkpoints in this.
Tell me there wasn't a cutscene right before you, so you had to watch the cutscene again.
No, at least there wasn't that. I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, this is like a perfect game, except for this piece of crap area that I feel like you need to adjust the difficulty down just so you don't have to be bothered with it. Like it really tarnished that aspect because like it's such an incredible game and visuals amazing, and like the whole chase scenes aren't really about being the best at platforming. I mean, yeah, that's an aspect of it, but it's more of like the excitement of the drama of being chased and having to get through this part to then get to like a battle or something. Completely deflated it. Having to have this extremely like it felt like a time trial, you know, where it's like, all right, now that you've done this, do this, but even harder to see if you can actually beat this part. Like it felt like it's suddenly a time trial on hard thrown in the middle of the main campaign.
I remember the first game having the exact same problem. Is one area that was so incredibly brutal that I almost just like decided not to play this game ever again.
Yeah, it's really stupid. I was like, why put that in there? This game is like nearly perfect. And then this progression blocking area I was like, damn, do I really have to go and lower the difficulty? I didn't, because it's not easy to lower the difficulty. You have to actually quit and then change it or something like that. But I've beat it, and
you can do it on your save though? Like you can continue a save on a different difficulty?
I think. I don't know. Somebody in chat was saying that I think you have to quit out to do it. It pissed me off, man. Because the game is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it was fun on hard. It was a really fun experience to play on hard difficulty.
What do you think of the combat?
Incredible. Like the movement system combat, like the options you get. By the time you're fully kitted out as like full Ori, it's really impressive.
The combat, I think, is the best addition to that game. It's like it's so much more dynamic than it was in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
The way, like the little thing is like the way when you swing the sword, you're hovering in the air for just a quarter of a second.
Yes,
just like adds so much to the
float
combat
mechanics and all that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah,
really
good stuff. Anyways, I highly recommend playing Ori. If you do go all the way through on hard, you be prepared for some.
What's
BS.
the default difficulty on that?
I think normal.
Is it normal?
Yeah. On normal, you definitely have more room to. People are saying you have a lot more, maybe not a lot more, but you have more time to calculate or recover from mistakes. On hard, you basically have to do it perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing on normal.
Do you have time for me to talk to you guys about Genshin Impact? Because it's amazing?
Yeah, I want to talk about this Elgato too, though.
Yep.
Okay.
Because this thing is crazy.
So Genshin Impact, I think, should be on everyone's radar if you like RPGs at all. It's kind of a game that I heard about, and I was like, there's no way this game is good. I don't believe it. Because it's heavily inspired from like Breath of the Wild. So it kind of takes a lot of inspiration from that. If you look at it, I think a lot of people were looking at it and like, oh, it kind of looks like Breath of the Wild. But it uses like anime style characters. So I saw it and I was like, no way, this is just going to be like a cash grab of like, here's this open world RPG with cute girls. Just buy it because of that. But it's actually really, really, really good. I got access to the closed beta and they've had it open for a while. So I've been able to just go in and kind of play through at my own pace and really experience the world. And I found the story to be interesting. I'm not going to go into any story stuff because obviously it's still closed beta. So
are you able to stream it?
You can stream it. Yeah.
Nice.
You're free to stream during closed beta. So yeah, it's the story is great. The really cool and unique thing is that you actually take control of like 4 different characters and you can switch between them on a whim. And each character has an element that they use. So you have like electricity and water and ice and all your kind of usual elements. And the game is all about matching elements. So if someone, say there's a water monster that you're fighting, you can electrocute them and that will do a big burst of damage. So what you're trying to do all the time is not just do that with making sure you're using the most damaging element against an enemy, but you can also mix your elements with your other party members. So you can bring out your electric person and have her put something on the ground, and then you can bring out your water person and do this big burst, and you get to mix your elements like that. So it makes it really interesting and gives you a reason to switch characters rather than just, oh, I want to use a sword now. Oh, I want to use a bow. It actually incentivizes you with switching characters and building out your squad, because there'll be like little dungeons that you can go to, and they'll say you need ice and you need fire. So you have to make your party have those elements in it. And I found that to be really, really cool. And I think we know that there's going to be 30 playable characters.
Whoa.
30.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's all right.
Insane.
With each one with a different element? Or are they going to share elements?
They're going to share elements, yeah. Okay. But some, for example, I have like a spellcaster mage who uses electricity, but then I also have a kind of tanky swordsman who uses electricity.
That sounds really
so although
cool.
It's the same element, they play very differently and they all have different abilities. So they have full abilities that they use with an ultimate and like a mini ability and an auto attack type thing, and all of those are different. And the skill trees and weapons, there's a whole weapon system. It's very deep. But I first walked in and looked at it, I was like, oh boy.
Is there any kind of timeline of when it's going to be officially out? They did say
2020.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be coming out this year, but I don't think they've given any more of a date than that.
What platforms is it coming out for?
It's coming out on PS4, PC, Switch, mobile. No Xbox though.
Switch.
Fuck Xbox.
Sorry.
Screw you, Microsoft.
Everything but Xbox.
And your pro gamer platform.
Oh, Microsoft, it's Japan. Fuck you.
So one of the coolest things actually that V Vega brings up is that it's fully voice acted. So, sometimes you'll have like cutscenes that are voice acted, but then like the little dialogue between certain vendors and stuff won't be. It is fully voice acted, and you're going to be able to choose different languages to the in-game language. So you can play with Chinese, Japanese, Korean voice, and then have the game be in English. So I love it when games allow you to do that.
That's cool.
Well.
Nice.
It's been so good. I know Eric, you've been able to play a bit, right?
Yeah, I played a little bit. Unfortunately, because there's been like so much stuff going on, I've only got to play the beginning, so I haven't. I've barely scratched the surface, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was drawn to it before because when they first sort of revealed it, I was like, well, I mean, I love Breath of the Wild. I'm a huge fan of it. And at first, everyone was like, oh, it's just a Breath of the Wild clone. It's like, yeah, visually it looks like it, but then while everyone was hating on for that reason, I was like, well, I like Breath of the Wild. I like the way the game looks. It's more of what I like. So why would I not like it?
It kind of looks like Ni no Kuni too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, but I mean, from what I play, like combat flows really nicely and like plays really well. I genuinely, it's always one of the kind of things where like, because I got in towards the very end of the beta, like I played like a little bit, but I'm always kind of more excited just to like wait until I can just play it in full because it looks really cool. And being on Switch, 100% is where I'm going to play it, unless there's a staggered release, in which case then I'll just get it wherever. But
yeah, it's been really, really good. I've been thoroughly impressed. I played it on my laptop and on my PC. It played beautifully on both. I've used keyboard and mouse and controller, plays beautifully on both, and you can switch between just whenever you want.
Nice.
And it just I haven't had any frame rate issues. I was talking to one of the community people on Genshin Impact, and he's like, we haven't had anyone report frame rate issues or anything feeling laggy or anything at all, even with co-op play, because it's not an MMO, but it kind of plays like how Destiny does in terms of its MMO-ness, in that it's not complete open world and you see other people running around and you join up with them, but you can group together with your team and go and do quests. So it's really impressive. I've been really impressed, because especially for a closed beta to not have any issues at all technically has been really cool.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I'm watching the YouTube videos of this, and graphically, it looks outstanding. Like,
it is beautiful.
There's some parts of it that look like movies, like animated movies.
Yes, I saw some stuff on Twitter, and I was immediately interested in the game.
Yeah. And can confirm that it story-wise and how it plays and how it feels actually fighting all feels great. I've been really, really impressed.
Nice.
There's definitely some creepy underage sexy girls in this, though.
There's not.
You can play as a dude though as well, although you still get the girls trio team. They were calling Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, at the beginning, they're like, you're like in this battle, and you get to pick if you want to be a girl main character or a boy main character. And honestly, I think they made the male characters be really fun and have awesome, powerful moves, so people actually use them.
Oh yeah,
fair.
They're like, well, I don't get to be my maid waifu with a sword, but he's really strong, and he's super fun.
That's funny.
This does look good. I mean, it looks really nice.
Highly recommend it. Hopefully soon they'll have an open beta so more people can check it out.
Yeah,
I just want the full release. I want to play like
I know.
I'm always waiting for full release.
Yeah.
I know, same. It's just, I think especially with this game, it's not super well known about. So I think if maybe people could get into the beta and just kind of feel it and experience it, it will sell a lot more people on it.
Yeah, your progress isn't going to carry over, right? Like your beta,
I don't believe so. Definitely not from the closed beta.
Yeah. That's why this is one of the things, like, it'd be fun to play right now, but I want my progress to stay on things like this.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, when's the real release? That's when I want to dive in.
All that time I spent shopping for those materials, I want that to carry over.
Yeah. Like, if a game is good and I want to grind it, I do not want to spend time on the beta. I just want the real release.
That's why, like, with like Lost Ark, like, you know, when we kind of got into it, like I played the beta for a bit, got to like level 50, and then like when that beta ended, and people were like, "Oh, the Russian beta's out, and you can get an English patch." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't want to play." I mean, I missed Lost Ark, but I'm like, I don't want to go and grind again in the hope that eventually we get a Western release and I have to grind again.
Yeah,
so like, I'm just gonna wait and pray.
Appealing. Yep. Briar, let's talk about this capture card, man.
Do it.
All right, this is the weirdest capture card I've ever seen in my entire life. Have you guys seen this thing?
Awesome.
Yes, I want it.
I haven't seen anything.
I can definitely understand why Eric specifically thinks it's awesome. This thing it's really cool. It's an external capture card, so it runs off a USB 3. You can also stick an SD card in there and record without a computer onto an SD card.
4K
so, like,
60, right?
Traveling at 4K 60. If you are traveling to a place where you need, which Eric's does all the time, right? Well, not lately.
I mean,
not anymore.
Pre-January 2020.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's like, it's such a cool device. Like, or if you have multiple setups, maybe you have like a living room setup and you'd like to record gameplay every once in a while you're sitting in your living room. It's a really cool device for that, because you don't need a PC to record 4K 60. It also records HDR, which is really nice. So like, it's hard to edit HDR still, but like eventually, you know, you might want to use that. And if you upload videos to YouTube that are HDR, YouTube automatically tone maps those videos for people who don't have HDR displays. So if you upload a video in HDR, people who don't have HDR displays can still watch that video, which is kind of cool. But this thing does not do tone mapping itself, and it has. It's a little weird. Is it doesn't have instant game view like the other capture cards do from Elgato. So
doesn't it, if you plug it into the PC, doesn't it have instant game view?
No. It has. They advertised 250 milliseconds. I watched YouTube review of it today.
Wow.
It's a lot. Yeah.
No.
Mm.
And they were the YouTube reviewer, Epos Fox. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He was saying he measured it at over 400 milliseconds.
Ooh, okay.
And as we know, if that is variable, you can't use it for streaming. It'll it'll kill you. So I wouldn't recommend this as a streamer, but it's a really cool device because it has an hardware encoder built in. So it actually records video onto that SD card, puts them in HEVC, and then you can put them on your computer from that SD card. You can stream with it, like if you really wanted to. It's not the best device for that, but it's a really cool device. It's a really weird device.
Yeah,
$400 too.
400, right? Yeah. So when I saw this, I immediately wanted one, or actually, I want 3 of them specifically. Because yes, for gameplay capture and for going to events and not knowing what type of capture setup you got going on, it's a brilliant solution, right? Beautiful. You plug into SD cards. For YouTubers capturing a lot of camera stuff, and let's say, so I use Sony A6400s, Briar, you use them as well. And you know that if you're recording video, you basically have like anywhere from 30 minutes to about an hour before the sensor starts overheating. It's usually closer to an hour to where like the camera will start overheating if you've been recording footage for that long on the A6400. So
I don't have that problem.
So I've run into the problem, but my room also gets warmer too, so that could be it too.
With
like
the A6500, that happens after about 20 minutes of recording.
Okay,
really? So I need to upgrade. Yeah.
So if you hook up one of these with the HDMI signal out, then you could just ignore the recording portion on the A6400 or A6500 and just capture directly to a 512 gig SD card. And all you're worrying then about is the battery life on the camera, in which case you could just get like an adapter to plug in to the wall. So then you're basically streamlining your capture and not having to worry about time at all.
Cheaper and better ways to do that.
Tell me, for 4K 60?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know about cheaper, but there's definitely better.
For 3 streams?
You can get a Ninja, which is a monitor and a recorder.
Okay.
And that's
the Ninja is about £1,000. That's the problem.
Is it $1,000? Okay.
Yeah.
And will it do 4K 60?
The Ninja does, yeah. So that's where I was kind of most excited about this new event, because like the new capture card. Because for me, like my 4K capture adventures started back when PS4 Pro first came out, and Sony were like, "Hey, do you want to check out the PS4 Pro?" They're like, "Do you have a 4K TV?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Oh, I need to record 4K." So the first thing I ever bought was the Blackmagic, like the thing they use in production studios, like the big one you feed 2 SSDs in the front.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I used to carry that to events, which is literally like suitcase size. Then eventually I upgraded to I kid you not, and I used to have to run it through. I also had to bring 2 power adapters, because you used to have to run it through a switch to strip the HD, because although you can turn off HDCP on PS4, you can't turn off HDCP for 4K naturally.
Yeah.
So weirdly, it's different. So then I used to have to bring that, which was just a stupidly big setup. Then eventually the Atmos Shogun Ninja came out, which is a decent size, but it's still pretty big. So I've been waiting for them to release this, so I can literally just put it in my pocket and be like, finally, because I just hate having to record 4K at events, because it's just always a beast of a machine.
Yeah. The Epiphan makes a USB 4K 30, and they've made that for several years, but it's 4K 30. Oh, the other thing that's weird about this is, even though the 4K 60 Pro can do weird resolutions like 1440p or high frame rates, this will not do those.
Right.
So, like if you want to do high frame rate recording at 1920 by 1080, it's not going to happen on this.
Yeah. So
it's a really cool device that has really specific purposes.
Yes. That's what I'm looking at, because like you said, how big is the Ninja?
Well, it comes in different sizes.
No, different sizes.
It's about like, trying to think of if you think about the width of like a Nintendo Switch, but then like not quite double the height, sort of like a width of a Nintendo Switch, like 1.5 times the height. It's about that big. It's about 2 or 3 inches thick. You put an SSD in the back of it, and it's got like a preview screen. So it's the one that, again, like a lot of people will use if ever they're doing like actual camera stuff on studios, because then you could also, it's got HDMI in and out on it. So obviously you can just like feed camera feeds into it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So super solid device.
I think what's nice about this Elgato is you could theoretically stack multiple on top of each other, and like that's your array for capturing multiple sources of 4K footage. And again, that's very specific. And I run a multicam setup when I'm doing the music videos that Memes and I are doing for like the creative music type of stuff. And I find that having to swap, let the camera cool down after like an hour can be disruptive to their creative process. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to have one of these set up to where you just let it record for 2 or 3 hours, no problem. Not have to worry about checking the time or something like that. But it is $400 per device. So if I was to get it for like 3 cameras, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I often will just plug a HDMI into my computer for that kind of thing. But that's not portable at all.
Yeah. And if you want to capture 3 4K signals in your PC, like I think that's still kind of rough.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do that or not.
Yeah.
I'd have to buy another 4K capture card to find out.
Yeah, because at that point you're running into like PCIe bandwidth issues and stuff.
That's why I bought Threadripper. Even though I have faster processors at this house, I stick with the Threadripper because of the PCIe lane issue.
Interesting, yeah. Well, cool solution. I wonder. I wonder if it holds up. If it is, in use.
Yeah, Elgato can be a little hit and miss.
Yep.
With stuff, I've had capture cards where I'm like, this thing is perfect, ran perfect for years, it's the best, no problems. And then I've had some where there's just issues that I can't explain.
When I switched away from USB, my whole life got easier. When I was using external capture cards, I was having a lot of issues, especially streaming, trying to keep audio and video synced up.
Yeah.
Once I moved to internal stuff, I got a lot.
I had the same problems with the internal, the HD60 Pros.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Now, this was a few years ago, so I moved away from those and went with Magewell. Magewell is definitely more expensive, but I have never once had an issue with the Magewell capture cards. And
Magewell also has the ones with multiple inputs, which is really nice.
Yeah, I used 2 of them, the 2 input HDMI ones. Yeah, and like I've never had any issues with those. With Elgato, like half the time I'd be like, why is things out of sync? What the hell?
Yeah. AverMedia has been doing some really good stuff too with internal and external stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fun time to be watching all this stuff because Tefty, you just turned me on to NDI capture.
Yeah.
So I'm not even using a capture card for PC anymore because like how long is it going to be before PS4 and Xbox just say, well, fuck it, let's turn on this NDI capture thing.
Well, you can also you can buy a external adapter and plug it in via Ethernet, so you can actually pipe the HDMI into an NDI device and then send that over the network. No problem.
And that'll work for just about anything.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think it's pretty expensive to get one that can do 4K.
Oh yeah, probably.
But I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, because that'll work for anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's so lag free too. Like, I could see, like, once those things get affordable, I could see putting those things on like TVs. For like, just for like regular home use.
Yeah. Once I switched over to NDI, I was like, how have I not been using this? This is amazing. The only reason I'm keeping the capture card, the only reason I'm keeping the capture card in the PC right now is for PS4 and Xbox.
Yeah, it's same here, and cameras.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. And it's an interesting time because the weird another thing about this 4K 60S Plus is that you can record and play HDR with it, but since it doesn't do tone mapping, if you want to play your game in HDR but like stream or record in non-HDR, it can't do that. You'd have to use another solution. And the 4K 60 Pro can do that. So, there's different solutions. I think actually between the two devices, though, what else could you want?
Exactly.
Like Elgato's kind of got you covered there.
I feel like if I was going to buy a new card today, if I was in the market for a capture card, I think I'd go with the AverMedia, that 4K.
That one seems really good. Yeah,
you can do like 240 FPS at 1080p. You can do variable. Ooh. Yeah, like it's great. It's a great solution. It's HDMI 2.0. So if I was in the market right now to buy, the AverMedia one is the one I'd get because I think the drivers are technically a little bit better, a little more stable than Elgato.
They work better, I think, when you have multiple in the computer as well.
Yeah.
You start stacking cards, it can get a little weird, especially if they're the same card, because the drivers can get confused.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But that external device from Elgato, like I definitely like I'm eyeing them. I want one of those.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Like even if you ever want to take a vacation, right? You could be able to work
Bring
a
a
little
capture,
bit
yeah.
while you're away and be able to capture perfectly with no problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, SD cards work in anything at this point. You could
Exactly.
edit your videos on your iPad while you're away. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great solution. Yeah, you could totally do that. And like you could technically bring your Switch and to various remote locations and capture Switch gameplay footage wherever you want.
I could get a
True.
I could get a camera setup of me playing my Switch on a beach or something or in the wilderness and upload a video of that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
That's
angle.
what people want, I think.
It'd be
That's
like
what the people want.
That's
Yeah.
what
super
people
remote Let's Plays.
Look,
Yeah.
Like,
we need to talk about your
The wild
webcam
is-
background. How come it's not in a tropical area?
Yeah.
Why is there no sunset?
that is honestly the ultimate Animal Crossing playthrough of you just playing in a super serene wooded forest area while playing Animal
Right.
Crossing. That's the playthrough we need.
With like the jungle sounds around you.
That'd be
exactly.
amazing.
Are you guys still enjoying Animal Crossing?
yes.
I still play it every day. Yeah.
Yeah,
I still check in,
still
do
really
my
digging it?
chores. Yeah, I only kind of check in for like an hour a day at the moment, so I'm playing it like relatively slowly. But I do what I need to do, and then because it's not really once you get to this point in the game, it's not really a game you play like all day long. You just kind of jump in, do your daily stuff, and then peace out.
What if
Take
you
care
want
of
to
your
make
chores.
mini Kyoto, Erics? You have to be on there for hours. You can't stop.
True. I haven't quite unlocked all the terraforming to be able to do all that crazy stuff yet. So soon.
No, I haven't either. I've been making very poorly created custom designs that somewhat look like streets, but mostly don't, and trying to put that on my ground to make it look like.
Oh, you're trying to do the Japanese school, the Japanese like housing street. I saw a post on Reddit.
It is
Someone did that.
really
It's like,
good. It looks really good.
Yeah.
But then I'm kind of like, it's in a deserted island. Do I want to make like a city on a deserted island? I don't know. Maybe I want to stick with the island getaway experience.
True.
Nice.
Also,
I'm just trying to
means
build a
I
gym.
don't have to.
That's all I do. Every update is just I've got more gym equipment. And I just stuffed it in my house. I have no bed. I just sleep on the bench. That's how much I embrace the life.
Do
I
some
have 3 rooms.
do some crunches while you're sleeping.
Exactly. One's a weight room, one's a cardio room, and now I've got a 3rd room which I need to fill with something else. Boxing room. That's it.
You could make it like a sauna room to wind down a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
cool down
perfect for a
room.
gym.
Don't fall
is
asleep in
true.
there.
Keep
Nah,
the muscles. Keep the muscles.
that would be bad.
Couple.
That's great. Well, is that the episode? Is that SideQuest?
I think so.
I think
It's a
so.
Jam-packed episode.
SideQuest complete.
Ring the bell. Thank you.
Excellent.
Look at
Never
that.
want Briar to forget the bell.
So this week we got Final Fantasy VII's coming out, and then we didn't talk about the delay for Last of Us, but I guess we could save that for next
Oh, it's
episode.
delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, it got delayed. Definitely.
It'll be here eventually.
Yeah.
What happens if that gets delayed past the release of the PS5?
Pandemonium. Carnage.
Everyone
Yeah.
panics.
Yeah.
They just want to be the Last of Us to release a game on PS4. Hey.
The Last of Us. Oh my god.
There we go.
That's great. Well, there'll be something to talk about next week. Thank you very much for watching, guys.
Yep.
That is SideQuest. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. I've actually been finishing quite a few games, which
You have.
makes sense since I haven't really been playing much Destiny. You know, when I stop playing Destiny, I start finishing other games. Weird, right? Huh.
All this extra time turns up.
Yeah. Really strange.
Also helps that they're like not MMOs or RPGs specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like games where I'm like, I'm gonna have to spend 70 hours here, aren't I?
Yep.
Okay.
I might actually play Neo 2 sometime this month after I finish Final Fantasy 7, because I'm planning on Final Fantasy 7 next, and I'm probably going to just play that through and finish it. And then it's like, what's next? Well, Neo 2.
Neo 2 does look fun.
Yeah. How did that? How did that review compare to the first one? Because the first one got a pretty good reception.
It's pretty good.
I will type Neo 2 review real quick and see if there's a number.
We should probably save it for another podcast.
8 out of 10, 85%. There you go.
All right, that's pretty
There we
good.
go.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Hello, I'm Watts. You can find me at Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts.
And then you can find me over on Twitter at Arix or YouTube at ArixG. Don't know what we did. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy this week, and some Valorant, and some Animal Crossing, and some Monster Hunter event this week as well. Lots of stuff going on this week.
Oh boy.
So, yeah.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me waiting in line for my toilet paper and tequila fix.
Nice.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week for another episode. Stay safe out there and appreciate all the support across the board on all the platforms. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.